Let me see, just give me a second. I think it's recording. So like I was saying, I don't really do much of analysis and all that. I don't really do that. So after the first thing I do, basically, let me just share my screen so I can like just show you guys. Like I just want to be straight to the point. I don't want to waste time. So just a second. Let me share with my laptop. Then we'll start the whole training. So okay. 624 28 77 27. All right, so see 715. Okay, so let me permit to share screen so I can share from my system. Just give me a minute. I'm struggling with all these things. Security. Okay, seen it. So let me try again. All right, okay. So okay, great. So guys, if you can see my screen, please just let me know. You can indicate. Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? If you can see my screen, please let me know. Okay, all right, great. So what I was actually saying is I don't really do much of analysis. In fact, I know that the most important thing we should do is to, after checking the news and all that, we're supposed to draw support resistance and trend lines, just like how Millimills teaches it. SRT, that's what we use, but I don't really do most of those things. So how I always mark my charts is I always mark the charts from the higher time frame. So let's say if I wanted to take a trade on Cashtrap now, let's say I wanted to take a trade on Cashtrap, and let me look for a nice setup. Let me just show you guys an example of what I do. So okay, let's say I looked at Euro USD currently, and let's say I want to mark up Euro USD. So this is the way I do it. I see that, okay, Euro is actually showing here as 53 and USD is actually 21. That's to tell you that we're supposed to be looking for buy opportunities on Euro USD. So how do I now mark up my charts? Now, guys, you can actually mark up your charts here on Hourglass, but I don't do it because Hourglass is too, should I say it's too tight? There's no space to actually analyze this whole chart very well. Then please call Emma, tell her I'm doing a training, she's calling me. So there's no space to actually analyze this chart or draw markups here because it is way too tight. So that's why I like to come back to TradingView, because it gives me a whole, like a lot of space to basically do that. So marking up Euro USD for a potential buy, what am I doing? I'm starting from the daily time frame. So I'm going to start from the daily time frame, and how I'm actually marking it up is I'm focusing on this last candle, this very last candle here, this green one. This is where I'm actually focusing on. So the very first thing I'm doing is to draw an horizontal line. Right? I'm just going to draw the horizontal line here. at the very top of the candle, that's where I'm keeping this horizontal line, at the very top. So this was the last place the candle got to before it reversed. So I'm just going to keep it here. Perfect. So you can see it actually touched this spot and dropped. So I'm doing the same thing for the bottom. At the very bottom here, I'm doing the same thing. So I drop it here, and voila, that's what I'm doing. So from the daily time frame, we are now going down to the 1 hour time frame. I don't like to look at the 4 hour any, like it's, I don't really, you can do it, you can actually do it, but actually analyze, let's say I actually draw support and resistance on the daily time frame, then I drop it to the hour time frame, 15 minutes, then 5 minutes. Most times I just start on the 1 hour, then 15 and 5. It depends on how you want to do it, because most times I don't really have time to start from the daily time frame down, but I'm just showing it to you guys based on some people here and here are actually new. Yeah. So top-down analysis, that's what we call it. So now for those of you on the call, someone says he cannot hear me. Can you guys actually hear me? Can you people hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know. Can you guys hear me? All right, Stephen can hear me. Okay, so now guys, for those of you on the call, for those of you that are actually new here on the call now, support and resistance is basically, okay, let's say the ceiling and the floor. The ceiling and the floor. So resistance is something that, okay, let's give this normal example. Let's say I was having a ball in my hands. I threw the ball to the ceiling. What happens? It's going to hit the ceiling and come down. So you can say that the ceiling is resisting the ball from passing through. So the ceiling is going to bring the ball down. The same thing happens if I was to throw the ball to the ground. It's going to hit the ground and bounce back up. So that's basically support and resistance. And is your network stable? Please don't do it with your phone. Okay, so that's basically resistance and support. So support can be said to be the floor. Let me just write it here. Support can be said to be the floor. Okay. Let me make this green. Okay, so the floor is support. So now if you watch this, you can actually see that price came all the way down, and once it hits this spot, it bounced up, it started going up. So you can actually say that, okay, at this point again, what happened? Price was respecting this zone. Price was respecting this zone. Price actually dropped. You can see the long wick. It dropped here, it hit here and started going back up. So support is anywhere you locate on the chart that, just know that, okay, support is somewhere that whenever price reverses from that point, we're supposed to be looking for a buy. And once price reaches the ceiling and it starts, it's possible that it will start rejecting. That's what we call resistance. So I'm not too good with all these terminologies or how to define these things. I just like to explain in layman's language. It gets to the floor, it bounces back up. That's your support. It gets to the top, it bounces back down. That's your resistance. So if I was to locate my resistance here at this very, very point, this is where I like to call my resistance, because if I actually zoom in, you're going to see that price bought from this point, got to this line and started dropping, started rejecting. It dropped, it came down. So you can actually call this one our resistance. You can call it our resistance. So resistance, or we can call it the ceiling. So all we are simply doing all we are simply doing on this top-down analysis is we are just marking up where we are seeing prices get to, and the reverse price gets to this point and it bounces back. So that's all we are basically doing. So on the 1 hour time frame, after marking up your daily charts, your daily candle, now you start identifying the places you can actually see price getting to and reversing. So that's all we are just doing. So if I wanted to mark somewhere else now on the screen, let me zoom in a bit. I think it's a little bit tiny for you guys to see. So if I wanted to mark up somewhere else, what am I going to do now? I'm going to look for somewhere that price has been respecting. So, okay, like these candles, it bought up, it closed down, it came down here, it bought again, just like here. So price cannot pass this point. So something like this, I might actually choose to draw a horizontal line here because, okay, price is being trapped at this point. So if I follow this horizontal line, you can still see this candle, it wicked up to this point, it dropped again, just like that. This one, it came down, but it still closed above. It respected this point. It sold down, it bounced on this line, just like that. It bounced on this line here. These candles are also respecting this line again. They are still respecting this line. So you can just decide to mark up. You can just decide to mark up everywhere you can spot price reversing. So at the bottom here, at the very bottom, at this point here, over here, you can see, okay, price was rejecting around this area. You can still decide to put your horizontal line there if you want to. Here again, same thing. Price was respecting this zone. You can still draw that horizontal line. See here, price was actually rejecting this zone. So it came here, it went back up, it dropped here, it went back up, just like that. So that's basically all I do. It's not like maybe there's one special analysis like that. No, it's very, very simple. It's very, very, very simple. You should not even complicate things for yourself. So you can do this thing from the past market. You can go back here. You see at this point, right? Price dropped here, it reversed, it came back up, it came back here, rejected, and started buying. You can also say, okay, here should be like a support or resistance. You can decide to draw your horizontal line at this point. You can decide to draw your horizontal line. And what happens now? I drew my line here, and if I check in the future, you're actually seeing price is still respecting this zone. Price is still respecting this zone, just like that, before it finally broke through. So that's all I'm doing. That's the only thing I'm doing. So after the 1 hour, you can keep on marking the 1 hour time frame as much as you want to, but I don't like wasting too much time doing the markups. So this point here is another zone I might like to mark up. So here, this very top where I can actually see these candles here. I can decide to mark here as well. So once I've marked this place up, what am I doing? I'm going down to the 15 minutes time frame. So once I go down to the 15 minutes time frame, what am I doing again? I'm still doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing over and over again. So I'm still going to be looking for places which price has gotten to and it has reversed. So somewhere like here, I'm going to do the same thing. Somewhere like here, I'm going to do the same thing. So if I mark here up, let me just make it bigger so that you guys can see. Let me make it bigger so you can actually see very well. So now look at. So I marked this zone, and if you check, this candle came up here, it respected here, it broke out, and it bounced here, it went up, it still bounced on this line, it came down. That's anywhere you see price respecting, it hits here, it drops, or it hits at the bottom, it bounces up. That you just know that your markup is correct. You just know that your markup is correct. In fact, if you start marking up your chart from the daily time frame, you drop to the 1 hour, you see that, okay, the candles on the 1 hour are respecting your markup. You know that, okay, yes, you're getting it right. From the 1 hour, if you drop down to the 15 minutes time frame, you can find the candles on the chart respecting your 1 hour markup. You know that, yes, you're still getting it right. So The last place I want to mark up is, I think I'll mark up this point. I think I'll mark up this point here. So here, you can actually see that price came up to this point, hit here, dropped down, came down, hit here again, could not break through. It remained on this line, remained on this resistance line before it started dropping down. So you can actually mark up that point as well. You can, as much as you want to mark up, it depends on you. If you have the patience to actually start marking up charts, like, okay, see here, price bought all the way to the top. So like this, I can actually say somewhere like this. These two candles, I think they call it a tweezer top. I don't really know those candle names, but I shall know that this one is a tweezer top. So I can mark here again. And at the bottom here, where it's dropped down and it started buying again, it rejected that point. So I can still draw another horizontal line here, something like this. So I can still bring it here. I can still drop another line here. So it's just you picking out the reversal points at the very, very top, at this point here, where you have this green and red candle. I can still decide to draw another horizontal line, just like that. So once you're done with the 15 minutes time frame, you're coming down to the 5 minutes. So once you come down to the 5 minutes, what are you looking for again? You want to be sure that the candles are still respecting your markups. You can actually see that it respected at this point, right? It dropped all the way down, it bounced here, it came back up, it's respecting this zone. See all the candles respecting this zone. It broke up and it started respecting this zone. It came down, it finally broke up. It could not break this last resistance zone. So the candles are basically respecting everything you've marked up. So just by doing this now, okay, so after I finished marking up the chart and I want to start taking trades, so what am I doing? I just go back to Cashtrap. I just go back to my Cashtrap. So now the only thing I'm watching out for is if Cashtrap calls out a buy or a sell, I should be looking for, okay, where's the nearest resistance or where's the nearest support I want to sell or buy from, just like that. So let's say we went to Hourglass now and let me refresh this. Let me see what we're looking for. Let me see what we're looking for. So Euro USD is now stronger. So USD is now stronger. So you should be looking for sales. Should be looking for sales. This stuff has actually dropped. So for something like this now, okay, so I actually forgot to say something. Also, for those people that are new, how do we know when we are supposed to be buying? How do you know when the market is in an uptrend? All those things is actually in the Cashtrap user guide. I don't know if you people have it, but okay, let me just explain this one real quick. Let me just explain it real quick. I don't like using Cashtrap because it's too tight. Okay, so for something like this now, this is how Cashtrap works. These green and these red lines or wavy lines, they are called Bollinger Bands. So once you can find the Bollinger Bands rising like this, we can say that, okay, the market is in an uptrend. And in an uptrend, you should only be looking for buy opportunities. You should be looking for buy opportunities in an uptrend. So once you see the Bollinger Bands moving sideways, you can say that, okay, market is consolidating. Now, how do you take trades in a consolidating market? You're selling at the ceiling. Remember what I said, support and resistance. You're selling at the ceiling and you're selling at the ceiling and you're buying at the floor. So let me actually use a line to indicate. Guys, give me a minute. All right, so when the market is consolidating, we only want to sell. We want to sell at the very top of the consolidating market. So at this point, this was the very top. Here, I don't know if you guys can actually spot it out. Let me just zoom in a bit, right? So at the very top here, this is where we should be looking for stocks. At the very top here. Remember, once the bands are moving sideways, we can say, okay, market is consolidating. So what we're actually doing, if market comes to the bottom, that's the support. That's where we're supposed to be looking for buys in a consolidated market. All these green lines, in fact, Cashtrap has, this app software has basically helped us with the markups and everything. So everywhere you see these red lines, you know that, okay, it's resistance. Anywhere you see these green lines, you know that it's support. So what are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be selling from the red lines, and we are supposed to be buying from the, what's happening to this thing now? I think Cashtrap is misbehaving. What's up? Sorry. Okay, let me just use here to explain, since it's still consolidating. So like I was saying, guys, once the bands are moving sideways, we are basically selling at the resistance. All these red lines you can see here, they are resistance points. So what I like to do is I can just like put my horizontal line there and just trace it up to the end. I can still do the same thing. I can still do the same thing at this point, extend it to the end. These are different resistance points. I can still do the same thing for my support. I can come here to the very bottom, this green line, I just extend it. Maybe I would want to change it to green so that I'm not confused. Then just like this is how I just mark it up. So once I am looking for, okay, so Cashtrap is giving me a buy opportunity. It's giving me a buy opportunity. So what I'm basically doing on my own, if I'm not actually taking markups here, so what I'm just doing is, okay, this is where the market is right now. So I'll just come down to my trading view, and all I'm doing is I'm looking at this markup. I'm coming here to confirm the price. So let's say we're actually to sell. If USD was stronger than Euro, and I'm saying that, okay, this my resistance price here was, what was the price? 123. That means I'm going to be selling from 123. So if Euro was actually stronger than USD, what am I going to do? The next support I have on my chart, that means I'm going to say, okay, if price drops down to this next black line and Cashtrap calls out a call, that's why I'm taking the call for. But now what happens? I know that in some cases where we might have a particular price to buy from or sell from, and the market will break that support and close below that support line. So once that kind of thing happens, what am I doing? I'm just going to roll over this first entry. Then I want to actually double up from the second entry here. I'm rolling over this entry, then I'll double up on this other entry. So just like that, sir. But for people that actually like to use Cashtrap for just taking trades, it's not really hard. It's not really hard. All you should be looking out for is just these green lines, the support lines, and the resistance lines. So let me actually look for another pair and see if I'll see something different. Okay, for this one now, we have JPY stronger than USD. So we are supposed to be selling. We're actually supposed to be selling on this one. And let me just refresh to be very, very sure. Let me refresh to be very, very, very sure. Okay, so yes, would have sold this one, I would have cleared it. But another thing, guys, is not just about is on the trading view entries. Sorry, I wasn't even looking at the chat box. So sorry. Okay, Messi. So what I was actually saying, I was saying, okay, Cashtrap, if Cashtrap was actually telling me to sell and I can find price around a resistance. Let's say Cashtrap was calling out a sell, right? Let's say, just, okay, let me do something. If Cashtrap was calling out a sell on this particular candle here, now, if they told us to sell, what am I looking out for? I'm looking out for price to be around a resistance. Price has to be around a resistance. If you are looking to buy, price has to be around a support. That's the rule of Cashtrap, right? When we're actually counting the point system, what are we looking out for? We are looking at the currency strength meter first. JPY is bigger than the bottom, is bigger than the top. That means we have to sell. The arrow put is actually 1 point, right? Currency strength meter 1 point. That means sell. So now, what are you looking for again? We are looking for price to be around a resistance. You can see that price on the previous trade that was called, price was actually near this red line. It was actually here. And now, guys, one thing you should actually understand is that a previous support is also the new resistance, and the previous resistance can become the new support. So, okay, this was formerly a support. Let me just show you guys so you don't mix it up. So you can see that these two green lines here, let me make it red. I don't know why Cashtrap is behaving like this. Okay, so let me make it red and let me make it bold. So you can see these two green lines here, they were previous support zones. So price came here and bounced up, it was support. But now what happened? By the time price broke through that support, it broke through the support on, I think this candle. Yeah, it broke through support, this candle. So now what happens? It tried to buy back again. It hit that previous support, which is now the resistance. It started selling, it started coming down. So that's another thing you guys need to understand. And the way I actually take trades with Cashtrap is just based on support and resistance. So I always make sure that, okay, Cashtrap has called out a trade, USD JPY. JPY is 41. It's basically telling us to sell. So even if Cashtrap is putting out a call arrow telling us to buy, even if it's buying, yes, I wouldn't advise you to take that buy, because most times that buy might not even last for long. It will just start dropping and you keep on rolling over and over again. So now that I know JPY is actually 41 and USD is 37, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to see if price can come up to a previous support or the new resistance. So in this case, we are supposed to be selling USD JPY. So what will I just do? I can just come to this green line here. Okay, see this green line? There's a green support line here. There's a green support line over this side, just like that. So I can just place a line here and say, okay, by the time USD JPY buys up to this point and Cashtrap calls out a put, that's where I want to take it for a sell, just like that. So once you can identify your resistance line, Cashtrap calls out a put, currency strength meter tells you to put as well. On your DMI touch, you have S. Now your stochastic and your RSI, yes, quite all right. Most times it's advisable for you to wait for these things to be, the stochastic and the RSI to be overbought so that you sell it on its way down. But like the Cashtrap's point system says, Matitaya says a 3-point trade is a good trade, 4 points, great trade, 5 points and above, amazing trade. So most people want to actually just take a 3-point trade, right? You have your currency strength meter 1, you can find price at resistance 2, it gives you a put arrow 3. most times people will just want to take it like that. So you can still take it like that, but if you actually want to have better confirmations, you can actually wait for your stochastic to buy all the way up, being overbought, and it starts coming down. Okay, so you can see what's happening with USD JPY. It's on my first resistance line. It's on my first resistance line. Now, above it again, you can see another red line. Above it here, you can actually see another red line. So this is how I actually give myself like 2 entries, basically. I can say, okay, if price gets to this point, there's a resistance here. I can actually sell. But what if it keeps on buying, it keeps on going to the very top, to the next resistance, which is around this point? I'm coming, I'll answer your question, Amy. So, which is around this point. So, you can see that there's another resistance here. So, I can now tell myself that, okay, since I'm supposed to sell USD JPY, okay, the currency strength has changed, but let's just assume it was still a sell. So let's say I was supposed to sell USD JPY. What would I have done? At the end of this present candle, if Cashtrap should call out a put, I would have taken the put. I would have taken the trade. Now it's always 3 minutes. Somebody was asking, I think 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Is that what you're saying? How do you determine the exact time to call or put a trade? It's always after the candle formation. Like there's a new candle now. Cashtrap is calling out a put. Assuming the strength was still JPY is stronger than USD, I would have taken it for a put. So you can see that it's past this point that we wanted to sell. It passed this other resistance point. It broke through and Cashtrap called out a put. But now this thing might actually drop, might actually come down, because from what I can see on the Bollinger Band, it's like you want to start facing down, like a downtrend, kind of. It's like it's looking like a downtrend basically. So it might keep on selling. It might keep on selling. So most times I might want to risk. I might want to take a light risk. There's a way I actually trade these entries. So if I'm not so sure or about a particular entry, what am I going to do? If I'm supposed to risk $10 on that trade, at the entry I'm not so sure about, you'll be seeing me taking $5. I know that sometimes I'll take $5 and people will be saying, your account is big, why are you taking $5? It's because I'm not so sure of that entry. Then once price gets to the entry I'm so sure of, that's why you see me using $20 or $10 straight up. So you can actually share your risk like that. Once you're not so sure of an entry, you might want to use 1%. In fact, you might even want to use 0.5%. It doesn't matter. So if you're very, very sure, like if price was to come up to this very top here, to the next resistance, yes, I can take a trade like that, or maybe even higher to this band. The middle bands also act as support and resistance. Price will get to the middle band, it will bounce, it will come down just like that. So you can also consider the middle band as support or resistance. So just like what happened here, price broke through the support and Cashtrap called out a put. But I still feel this market will still buy up because the stochastic is not yet overbought. It's not yet overbought. So I still think it's going to come down. It's going to shoot up then before it starts crossing down. And sometimes I don't like taking trades that have the currency strength almost alike. It's just like USD 34, JPY is 30. So the way I'm looking at it is almost like the pairs have the same strength. So it's just like, okay, you want to sell once it reaches a resistance, you just want to buy once it's at the nearest support. So that's how I actually trade pairs that have almost the same currency strength. So apart from that, basically every other marking of charts, everything is just the same thing, to be honest. So okay, so look at this one, Euro USD. Let me check Cashtrap for Euro USD. So Euro is 57. Wow, this one was nice though. Euro is 57, USD is 34. So we're actually looking for buy opportunities. And this one is consolidating. So why would you have taken the buy, right? Price came all the way down it hit a support and price was around the green Bollinger Band. What happened at the bottom? Price was around this area. I think it just crossed up. It came down again. So price came down to, okay, if I should extend this line like this, from the support line, there's one support line around there. So me, I like to extend the lines. I like to draw them out. That's how I actually mark up my own chart. So at this point, you can see another green support line. So what can you do? You can just draw an horizontal line there. You can now see that, okay, the new support line that Cashtrap drew was almost the one you extended. So it's just like that. This green one here, what am I doing? I can just draw a new one here and expect price to come to any of this. So I would have actually taken this one for a buy. I would have actually taken this one for a buy because we have support lines here. How many points must you check to be sure a trade will be accurate using Cashtrap? Like I said, 3 points, good trade, 4 points, great trade, right? And 5 and above, you have 6 points, you have 7 points, amazing trade. So it depends on you. If you're the type of person that likes trading 4 points and above, yes, wait for your 4 confirmations. If you're the type of person that likes taking 4 and above, wait for your 4 confirmations. Somebody like me, if I see 3 points, like I said, 3 points, I might just cut my risk into half. If I'm supposed to reach $10, I'll just make it $5. So that way, even if I lose it, I'm not bothered. So it depends on you. If you want to be disciplined and say, okay, I don't want to take trades that are below 4 points or 5 points, you can actually wait and see if you have that perfect setup. But if you can't find it, then you just have to keep waiting. You just have to keep waiting. So that's how I actually take trades. So if I was to take a put on Euro USD now, what am I supposed to do? I'm looking for the previous resistance point. So at this point here, I can see a red line here, this resistance. So what am I doing? I'm just extending that resistance point. I'm just drawing a horizontal line. And you can see here that these candles came up to this same line. Candles came up to this same line. These candles, they actually came up to the same line and it respected here. It respected here. So it bought all the way to this top and it started dropping. It dropped to the bottom. Now, what it might do again is my price might want to get to this point, this same line, or if it breaks through this line, that means it's coming for the next resistance point. That is around this area. So I might still draw another line there. So now, how I normally get 2 entries, these horizontal lines I just drew, if you look to the extreme, you're going to see these numbers at this end. So remember, we're focusing on the last 3 digits, right? So the first entry I got is 118. The second entry I got is 124. So I can tell myself, okay, Euro USD at 118, I'm going to sell it once I get price at 118. So once price, just like how we say 118 or above, 118 or higher. So the next place I'm actually calling higher would be this next resistance point. So if price comes to the next resistance, yes, I can enter on my full chest. That's how I basically take trades. And I think that the day we did the HFX free trial, this was basically what I was doing. I just located the highest point the market has been to. I drew my line, came down to the bottom, the support, the last point the market came to. That's the same place I marked up. So I remember that day was like, it was very, very spiky. So price will hit the top, come down to the bottom, hit the top, just like that. So that's how I was like, okay, if you see price at 124, take a 1 minute sell. If you see price at 0.92, take a 1 minute buy. So it's basically support and resistance. Cashtrap is just here to tell you, okay, look for a buy now, look for a sell now. That's just it. If not, the basic thing here is just support and resistance. I don't even know how to draw trend lines, to be honest. I don't know how to draw trend lines. This is basically everything I've been using. This is basically everything I've been using. Do you trade every pair or just, man, I don't even have a favorite pair I trade. Like Matiteya will tell you he loves EU, EJ, UJ, those ones. So me, once I open up Cashtrap, and I see a very nice setup. Once I see Cashtrap, I see a very nice setup. If I see Euro card now, I know that, okay, Euro card, I'm actually looking for a sell. Card is stronger than Euro. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be watching for card to come up to this resistance here so that I can take a sell for 3 minutes. That's all I'm doing. If it's Euro stronger than card, what would I be doing? I would have been waiting for price to drop down to this support area. Either it drops to this one, this first one here, or it drops to this second one. So once I can see price on either this one or this one, trading view is free. Yes, trading view is free. It's free. You just go to www.tradingview.com. You have it for yourself. So it's actually free. You can also have it on your phone for those of you that want to enjoy phone view. But so, like what I was saying, if I wanted to take this for a buy or a call, now price is currently here. So what I'll be waiting for is that I'll just be waiting for this price to come down. Remember what I said, you always want to extend your support and resistance lines so that it doesn't confuse you. So price comes down to this red line and Cashtrap gives out a call. I'm taking it because the next support line is not even too far from it. So if it gives a call around the support, it must be on that support line. Price must have gotten to the support line before you can be able to take it. So if I don't see it there, I'm not taking it. I just want to really wait again. So I hope you guys are understanding. I don't know if is there any question. If you have questions, you can ask so that any tips on knowing how many minutes to take a particular trade. It's always 3 minutes. I use 3 minutes. I use 2 minutes. So okay, what I actually use to determine the time I'm taking a trade is this countdown timer. It depends on how many minutes the trade has. Let's say Cashtrap called out a trade for 1 minute ago. That means we'll have 4 more minutes. So I can decide to still take 3 minutes. But if I see Cashtrap called out a trade and it's already 2 minutes gone, that means we have like about 3 minutes and something seconds. I'll just take a 2 minute trade. But I know people that actually take 1 minute trades. I still don't know how they do it. Sage, my guy, I still don't know how that guy does it. But 1 minute on a 5 minutes time frame it can be risky, but you might get lucky. But the thing it's always advisable to use 3 minutes and 2 minutes. So, like I was saying, guys, if you want to actually know what you're supposed to be taking, the EMA is also, you can also add the EMA as a point. This red tick line here, this red tick line is the 200 moving average. So once you find it below price, you find it below the candles, we are supposed to be taking trades the opposite of the EMA. So if the EMA is at the bottom, we are taking trades. That means if it's at the bottom, we are taking call. Call is pointing away from the EMA. You can't be having the EMA at the bottom and you're taking trades, like you're taking puts facing the EMA. So I also take that as a point or as a confirmation. So if you find if you find the 200 moving average on top, like something like this one, you know that, okay, this is like an uptrend. It was formerly an uptrend before it started consolidating. Right now it's consolidating. So once the EMA is at the bottom, you can see price, it was an uptrend before it started consolidating. So you want to be taking only calls, you want to be taking only buys. But right now, price is consolidating. So let me see if I can find another one. Okay, look at this one. Now, guys, this one was actually a very, very nice trade. Like this one was too nice. This one was too nice. Now, what happened here? NZD was 30. That means we're supposed to be looking for a buy, right? We're supposed to be taking buys. So we have NZD stronger than USD. Now, what happened? Price came down to a support area. Price came down to support area. It was also touching the green Bollinger Bands. And now, this 200 EMA most times acts as support and resistance as well. Whenever you see price coming to the 200 EMA, there's every chance that price might hit that 200 EMA and bounce back. If it's at the top, it might just hit it and fall back down. So now we are supposed to be buying at support points. So look at if I extend this green line, look at this green line here. If I should draw an horizontal line from that line, extending it to the very end, this is what we are going to have, something like this. Are you seeing? I extended this green line here all the way down. So now what am I watching for? I'm seeing that NZD is stronger than USD. So now, okay, price was falling. So I would have just been patient enough to wait for price to get to this support line. So now what happened? It was oversold. It came down to this point. That means we're supposed to be looking for buys. So Cashtrap would have called out a call on this candle. I would have actually taken it from here, Seth. In fact, I would have taken it from here, but I know most times people want to wait for that cross up which you have here. So if I was to count the points, if I was to actually count the points, let's say Cashtrap called out a call formally. Currency strength meter is telling me to call NZD, and the arrow was called. That's 2 points. It came to the Bollinger Bands, 3 points, support 4. You have B here, 5, 6, 7. Amazing trade. So this one I would have actually taken something like this. So let's assume USD was actually higher than NZD. That means we're supposed to be looking for sells. So where I want to take the sell is somewhere around here. So remember how I take the trades is that I'm looking for a former support, which is going to be my new resistance. So I'm simply extending that line. I'm simply extending the line. So once I can extend the line here, you see this candle actually bought all the way up to the top. So when it got here, it dropped, it rejected that put. You would have cleared that trade if you took it from the resistance line at the very top. So this one, I think this one is still going to drop, because the stochastic is already over. It's already overbought. RSI is still trying to cross this zone. So there's every tendency that this might just hit this middle band. Remember, I told you the middle band, most times it acts as support and resistance. So it's just going to hit this point and to just drop. If you check, it's already rejecting that zone. So you would have just entered for your 2-3 minutes and you would have just cleared it. So that's all I'm doing. That's basically all I'm doing. If you hear me calling out trades, it's basically all I'm doing. I'm just extending lines. I'm waiting for Cashtrap to call out a put on that resistance line. If it's support, if I want to take a buy, I'll just extend my line. So I'll wait for price to come to this line area. And once I see Cashtrap call out a call, I'm taking it. That's basically all I'm doing. So you can do this for many pairs as possible. USD CHF. This one actually does not look nice, to be honest. Okay, so we are looking for a sell, right? So if I wanted to sell this one, I would have waited, in fact, till I can get it around a former support. So if it actually buys up to the top, all the way to the top, then I can actually take it for a sell. If I see it buying up all the way up to this resistance line, we also have the middle band there that is acting as a strong resistance as well. So if USD CHF comes up to this point, yes, I can take it for a sell. And again, I normally hear people say, okay, the broker price is always different from the Cashtrap price. I know a lot of people have that problem. They always confuse themselves with that. Now, guys, one thing you should always understand that if you don't have trading view, if you're not the type that likes to use trading view, you don't even need to bother about that. If you actually have hourglass like this and you have your broker ready, the only thing you should be looking for is just for you to see price coming around that resistance line. You must not even know the strike price or the entry price. Once you actually see the candle coming towards that zone you marked out, you can just go to your broker, enter it for 3 minutes, sell. Because most times people will be saying, what's the entry price? What's the entry price? I don't really bother myself about entry price unless I want to be precise. I want to actually like call out trades for people. Then you see me doing all these plenty lines and all this stuff. But most times I still do not mark up the chart plenty like this. What I do most times is, let's say we actually wanted to trade now, and let's say we are focusing on a pair like, let's say, USD card. Let's say we wanted to trade USD card now, and we're actually calling out trades. Now, people are going to be expecting me to call out the trades, right? So me, what I'm actually doing here to confirm the prices Cashtrap is calling out. So Cashtrap can be calling out, let me go to USD card. Cashtrap can be calling out a put right now. So what me I'm doing on TradingView, the only thing I'm doing on TradingView is just to come here, okay, price reversed here. That means I'm marking a zone here. So I'm going to say, okay, guys, if USD card should come up to 270, I'm taking it for itself. That's all I'm doing. I'm just locating the nearest resistance and support zone. So like this now, USD card is actually dropping. So what I can do again, I can just come to the bottom and locate an area of support. I can just come to the bottom and locate an area of support. So I can actually say, okay, guys, if we see USD card drop all the way to 212, remember it's the last three numbers. So if I see USD card drop all the way to 212, take it for a 2 minutes or 3 minutes buy. Just like that. That's what I'm doing. That's the way I take it. And to be honest, it's not even complicated. And now you notice that it's even on the 5 minutes time frame. So it's not as if I was analyzing from daily, coming down to 1 hour to 15 to 5 minutes. I am simply just drawing, I'm just drawing resistance and support zones. So now you can see that, okay, price is trying to come down to 212. Now, what's Hourglass saying? What's Hourglass calling out? Where's USD card? I don't know. Chill, let me refresh. Let me see. Okay. So it's still showing puts. Still showing puts. So that's to say, okay, you see, it almost came to this zone and it has already started rejecting. So something like this, I would have just said, okay, once you find price around 212, yeah. So price is coming around 212. I take it for a buy. To be honest, most times you might not necessarily need to start from the daily time frame. You're coming down to 15 or 1 hour, 15. That unless you're somebody that has marked up the charts already. There are some people that the first thing they do is to actually mark up their charts when they wake up and before they start trading for the day. But me, I'm not that kind of trader. Once I open up Cashtrap and I see, okay, USD card would be good for a buy, I'll just come to the chart and I'm looking for, since USD card is giving me buy opportunities, obviously USD is stronger than card. So what am I doing? What am I simply doing? I'm simply looking for support regions. Like here, price got here, it bounced here, it went all the way up. Price came here, it could not break down, it broke down, it hit here, it could not break, it cannot break through the what they call it. It cannot break through the, I think, the resistance. Former support is now new resistance, right? Yes, former support is now new resistance. So price could not break through this point. It dropped again. Same thing happened here. Even though it behaved like it was going to break through, it was just a fake out. If you see it's a fake out, it still came down. It still came down. So the same thing applies to when we are trading Bitcoin. If you watch, you're going to see break and close of so price, enter for a buy, especially when we are actually trading swiper and scalper. There are some people that have been doing this. They receive an alert on the scalper. You see 15 minutes time frame, buy BTC, just like that. And people are just rushing, they enter buy, and the next thing you're saying, Jesus, I took a buy on the BTC trade. Were you in it? It's actually in negative, it's in minus. It's the same thing, it's still support and resistance. So I don't know if you guys understand. If you guys understand what I've been explaining, then maybe to just round it up, I might just show you guys how we're able to trade Bitcoin through the scalper. But I don't really have the scalper. So maybe I might just use TradingView to just show you an example of how I do it. So I hope everybody understands. Does anybody have a question or something like that? How soon can we get the recordings? I don't know. This is the first time I'm recording, so depends on when it's out. I'll check my email for it. So is there anybody that has a question? Do we have to wait for Cashtrap to call or put before you take? Yes, you have to wait. You can't take trades blindly now. It's obvious. You have to wait. You have to wait for Cashtrap to tell you call or put. Just like this. Now, okay, we're about 56 seconds to go. I'm waiting for the next trade Cashtrap is going to call out. If he's going to tell me call, quite all right, that's okay. If he's going to call out put, fine, then put. So it depends on what Cashtrap is calling out for you. But already you should know what Cashtrap is supposed to call out. Like we are on USD card. Card has 52, right? Card is 52. So this should tell us that, okay, since the bottom is bigger, we should be looking for sales. Now we also have Cashtrap calling out a put. That's like 2 confirmations. Currency strength meter, 1 confirmation. The arrow, put, 2nd confirmation. Now, what are we looking for? We want to see price get to a resistance line, and that's exactly what happened here. Price got to a resistance line, and we entered a put on the next candle. So now what happened? After we entered a put, this is what happened. Price did like it wanted to go up, but it still came down. So if you took this trade at this resistance line, you would have cleared this trade. So that's all we are doing. So if you are buying, you want to take buys at where you see the green lines or support lines. If you're selling, the same thing. You want to always take them at the very, very top, the red lines. So I just need you guys to understand that Cashtrap is not hard. In fact, myself, I'll be honest with you guys, I was actually struggling with Cashtrap for a very long period. This training, you can ask Cochuta, we've basically been quarreling because of this training, because she's been asking me to come and teach, because, okay, quite all right, I wasn't all that confident because I was still messing up on this Cashtrap strategy. So if I was actually having a lot of trouble myself, why would I actually come and teach you people confidently? So I couldn't do that till I started seeing results, right? I was becoming very, very confident. So a way to actually do this for yourself is basically just to practice more of it. I was practicing on demo. In fact, I'm actually going to be honest again. I actually blew part of my accounts. Like, I think that should be like February. I had about $600 to $700. I blew it down to 5 something. Then I was like, man, I need to create a demo account and practice this well. I don't know how many of you saw on the group. There was a day I was asking Coach Bianca, please, where's that Cashtrap training video? And some people were laughing, like, you guys to make money, you're asking for training video. But that's the reality. You don't really know what we're actually going through. You're only seeing the clears. Nobody is bold enough to come and post the lessons we take or the losses. I lost like $200 on a single trade. Would I have posted I lost $200? No, it doesn't happen like that. So it was because of that I decided that, okay, this thing, I was going to take my time to learn it. I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, even simple scalper, I'm going to be honest, like, I don't even know how to use simple scalper. Yes, quite all right, I know the steps, but I've not really used it to trade. The worst of them all is Web Slinger. That thing looks scary, to be honest. So Cashtrap is all I've been using. So this is just what I do. Once you see the price at the red line, once you see price coming here, once you can spot out, okay, the bottom currency is stronger than the top currency. Now, what's the next thing you're looking for? You're looking for a put arrow, and price must be around a red and resistance line. So if it's for a buy, we're looking for price to come down to a green support line area. So once you see there, yes, you know that, okay, yes, I have 3 points. Now, if you're now looking for extra confirmations, that's when you're now looking at the DMI storage, you're looking at the stochastic, you're looking at the RSI for those extra confirmations. But the major things you should be looking out for is currency strength meter, then whatever Cashtrap is calling you, if it agrees with the currency strength meter, if currency strength meter is telling you to sell, that means you must wait till Cashtrap tells you to sell. So once you get those two, what are you looking for? You're waiting for price to come up to this red line. Then you take it for yourself, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. So that is all for Cashtrap, or how I actually take my trades, or the markups and all that. It's not really complicated. It's only complicated. I think the very first time I started doing it on TradingView, that's when I had time struggling. So like you see this one, exactly, and you want to be patient, you gain $280 today. And wait, I need to see that comment. You gain $280 today, and before I need, I lost 120. I guess you're probably over trading. You made a lot of money, you would have stopped trading. So most times, once you keep on trading, you find out that you're losing your profit you've made. So just like this, I just drew this one a few minutes ago, and now what happened? Price came here, it rejected, it came here, it rejected here again, it came up here, it's still rejecting this zone, right? You see, price is just dancing through this area. So you can say, okay, price is consolidating just like that. So in a consolidating market, you're selling at the resistance, you're buying at the support. So just like that. So if I want to look at another pair, so in GBP USD. So if I wanted to look at this one, most of all these currencies are consolidating, to be honest. Like, they're just moving sideways. So if I wanted to trade this one, what I've done, I'd have just marked the top like this. Horizontal line there, then at the bottom, somewhere here, horizontal line, just like this. Then where am I marking again? I'm marking here again. Why? Like I spotted open and close of this candle. It closed on the same level. So that's like a strong resistance zone. So here again, I can mark here again. Why? Because these candles are closing under this line. So I can just mark it up like this. Then I can do the same thing for the bottom at this point. So I can just mark it up like this, drop down to the 5 minutes time frame, and you still find the candles respecting your markup. You still find the candles respecting your markup. See, it bounced on this support zone. It went to the top. It could not break through. It came down again. It respected here, hit here, just like that. So when you do your support and resistance, and you see that the candles are actually respecting these zones, yes, you know that, okay, yes, my markups are actually correct. I don't have to stress about not having them correct. So that's how I basically do it. So again, I just want to ask again, I hope we understand the whole Cashtrap thing now. It's not so complicated anymore. I hope you know how to mark up. I hope you now know how Cashtrap works. Is there another person that has a question? So we can just proceed and finish up. Is there another person that has a question? Do you have a question? Kochita, is that a question? I don't understand. No. Okay, what I was saying is most times, like the way they always teach, you start from the daily. Do you mark up weeks? It's mostly candle bodies, to be honest. It's mostly candle bodies. Then the weeks, I might just take that as a higher entry. Yes, we can have it again. I'll just have to talk to Kochita. We can do it again. So, like you see, all these markups now, what do you notice? I'm marking up the candle bodies. I'm not just looking at the weeks. I know that, yes, the weeks must have been an extension to where price is gotten to. So I normally use the candle bodies more often. I use the candle bodies more often. Sorry, I'm trying to arrange all the currencies on the watch list. How do I do that? Okay, for the currencies here, if you want to actually arrange them, or just you can just click on the X here, or you can just I think there's a way to okay, let's say I cleared the list. Let me just clear the list. Let me show you what you can do. I can clear the list and I start to add these currency pairs one by one. So you can still do that. I don't know if that's actually what you're talking about. You can just clear it and you can just like add it manually. But if one decides to use the weeks, does it have same results? Yes, it has same results, but one thing I've noticed is that if you're actually waiting for price to get to that week, most times you see that the market has already left you. If you're supposed to sell, okay, look at this one. You can see that this candle is trying to reject this resistance point, this GBP USD. You can see if I should zoom in, you're going to see what's happening here. See what's happening here. It's trying to buy, but it got to this point. It started dropping down. So for GBP, you can see it's actually rejecting. It's actually rejecting. So now we can actually say that, okay, hourglass, what's happening? What's GBP USD? It's saying we should what? Put. Is it a put? It's supposed to be a buy. So for GBP USD, it's telling us the currency strength is saying we should buy, but Cashtrap has called out a put. And now the RSI and the stochastic, they are all overbought. So if I come back to trading view, this is what we're saying. So now that price has broken through, it has actually broken through. So what am I doing? The next point I'm looking for price to come to. That's if I actually took this first point as my entry. If I actually took a put with Cashtrap, what I'm actually doing, since price has broken above that resistance, I'm looking for the next resistance point that price is going to reject. So sorry about that, guys. No, can you guys? Okay. So sorry. So the next point I'm actually looking for is somewhere that price has been to or rejected. Okay, this is where I might want to consider a week as the highest point the market has been to. So something like this. For the person asking, can we use a week? I might want to consider the week now for this kind of trade. Are you seeing? It actually got here and it's dropping back down. It can't go further than this. So Cashtrap called out a put, right? See, price, we waited for price to come to a red line. That is the resistance. Now it's overbought. It's supposed to cross down. This one is supposed to cross down. So once we get a trade like this, yes, we know that, okay, on this trade, I think currency strength meter was not in our favor because GBP is actually stronger and USD was weaker. So something like this now is, okay, if you wanted to count the points on this trade, what would I have counted? I'd have said, okay, put arrow 1, price came to resistance, 2 points, cross down, it soon start crossing down, so 3, 4. So I can say, okay, this is now my 4-point trade, but currency strength meter is not in favor, but it's always advisable to take the trades that have the order. Like if Cashtrap is calling out a put, you know that this currency strength is in support. If Cashtrap is calling out a call, the currency strength is also in support. So you might want to take those kind of trades, or like I said, if you know that you want to risk it and take this kind of trades, just know that, okay, this sell that's about to happen, the sell is not going to be for long, because in the initial sense, the currency strength meter is what moves the market. So you don't want to be trading against the currency strength meter. So the currency strength meter is telling you that GBP is in a buy trend. It's buying continuously. You don't want to be looking for too many sells in this kind of trade. So I think everybody understands this part. Does everybody understand this part? All right, so now before I end the call, let me just explain let me just explain for you people that have been having issues understanding how to use what they call it, swipe and scalper. But I think my subscription has ended though, but I'll not be able to show that. So the little trick about swipe coin scalper is that it's always on the 15 minutes time frame. It's always on the 15 minutes time frame. And let me look for Bitcoin. Okay. Let me look for Bitcoin. So let's say this is Bitcoin. And now, guys, a little tip, or should I say a little secret, how the scalper works is that it makes use of what we call moving averages. So you're going to have your 50 moving average. In fact, if you log into your swipe and scalper, you're going to find this yellow line, which is your 50 EMA. So now swipe and scalper is not a software that tells you when to buy or sell, because so many people make this mistake. Once you get an alert on your Swipecoin app, or you see the notification on Telegram, BTC buy 15 minutes, you're already going to your MetaTrader to enter buy, just like that. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Now, for Swipecoin scalper, I know that once you log into the scalper on your browser, you're going to see buy, you're going to see sell, all those things on the chart. Now, how the scalper is able to call out low battery, how the scalper is able to call out those buys and sells is through what we call the MA cross, moving average cross. So the two moving averages that the Swipecoin scalper uses is the 50 EMA and the 4 MA. The 4 MA. So I need guys to take note of this. This one is just like an escrow I'm trying to give you guys. So Swipecoin scalper uses the EMA 50, which is the yellow one, and I don't have the Swipecoin this thing. I'm still explaining. That's what I'm actually doing. So Swipecoin uses Swipecoin scalper uses the 4 MA and the 50 EMA. Okay, I think I can use is Sage on the call. I think I can borrow his own details. And let me just show you guys real quick. If I have that permission. Sage, can I do that?
No, carry on.
All right, so let me see if I can do that. I think I have your details on this system. So I think I have. Okay, yeah, it's here. So now, all right, so let me refresh. So let me actually show you guys how it works and how you're supposed to be taking trades. Okay, so something like this. Let me actually take these things out. Okay, so like I was telling you guys, the scalper makes use of what? The 50 moving average, 50 EMA, exponential moving average. You can see it here again. So now the little secret, guys, what the scalper uses to call out all these buys and sells that we don't know how it comes about is the order moving average, which is the 4 MA. So let me show you guys the secret here, the little hack. So if I should click on moving average, and I'm just going to set it to 4. Let me set it to 4. Just 1 second. So I'm setting this, the length of the moving average, not exponential. Exponential is 50. The length for the moving average is just 4. So you might want to make any color you want. You can decide to make it black. Let me actually make it black so that it's so obvious. It's very, very clear to us and we can see. All right. Now, so the next thing that happens, guys, do you notice that whenever, I don't know if you guys can actually see, Okay. Whenever this black line crosses down, which is the MA4, it crosses the 50 EMA downwards. What can you notice? The market starts selling. It starts going down, starts dropping so hard. And whenever the market, the black EMA and the black MA, which is the 4 MA, crosses upwards, you notice that the market begins to buy. It begins to buy. It crosses down, it drops, it sells, and after it crosses upwards, what happens? It buys. Now, guys, the only time Swipecoin is going to send you those buys and sells, you can receive like 10 buys in 15 minutes, in fact, is when you have a cross-up like this. So once you have a cross-up like this, Swipecoin is basically going to notify you that there's a buy opportunity. It's not like it's telling you to buy immediately. Once you have a cross down, Swipecoin is going to tell you, okay, there's a sell opportunity. So now, the last notification we got here was a buy, right? They sent it out today. I think it's today or yesterday. I don't know. What date is 5th? Today is 5th, no? Yeah, it was today. So they sent out a buy opportunity. And if you click on this now, like I said, after it crosses up, Swipecoin is supposed to notify you for a buy. So now, if I actually click on this, what are you seeing? You're seeing a buy here, right? After it crossed, Swipecoin called out a buy. Now, let me show you guys something else. After it must have crossed down, see, it crossed down, that's where Swipecoin called out a sell. If I go to the past, you're still going to see the same thing repeating over and over again. A cross up, what can you find? You can find a buy. A cross down at this point, you can find a sell. Now, how do you actually take these trades? How do you actually take these trades? If you watch this one, you can see after it crossed down, there was a sell. Now, for Swipecoin scalper, how you take trades is the same thing. It's basically support and resistance. It's the same thing, ceiling and floor. So if you actually follow the rule of the scalper, these are the rules. So step 1, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to change from candlestick to candlestick charts to line charts. I don't know if you guys can write out the steps. You can write out the steps. So you're supposed to change from candlestick charts to line charts. Step 2, what are you supposed to do? Spot break and close of structure, support and resistance. So you're supposed to draw your support and resistance lines, and whenever we can find price trying to break through a support or break through a resistance, that's when we can start getting ready to enter a buy trade or a sell trade. You just don't enter the trades whenever you just see Swipecoin notifying you on a potential buy or sell. So again, step 3, for that buy to be valid or for that sell to be valid, the 50 EMA, which is the yellow line, for a buy, the 50 EMA has to be under price. Just like we have the 200 EMA, right? Whenever the price is above the EMA, it's to tell you that, okay, this thing is going to keep on buying. So if we have the EMA above price, you should know that, okay, it's sales we are looking out for. So we're going to come back to this, but let me just show you guys what we're supposed to be doing. So step 1, they said we should change from candlestick chart to line chart. So this is where I'm going to. This point, I'm going to change from candlesticks to line charts. So now what am I actually doing? If Cashtrap, if Swipecoin scalper calls out a, let's say it called out what? It called out a buy of recent. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to locate the, I'm actually supposed to locate the nearest resistance point. Like price has been retesting, it has been retesting like back to back. That's where I want to look for where to take the buy, right? I want to actually find the price has been retesting on. So now we make use of the line chart. It actually makes it very, very easy to spot out. So Now, if I wanted to make a resistance, remember if you're buying, price is supposed to go to the ceiling. So that means we're looking for resistance. If we are selling, price is supposed to be dropping to the floor. So we are looking for support for sell. It's not like the normal, okay, sell at resistance, buy at support. Now, this one is a little bit different. When we are looking for buy opportunities, we are looking for resistance now. And when we are looking for sell opportunities, we are looking for support. So for here, remember we just got a buy opportunity at this point. We are looking at the most recent buy. So let's not actually look at this part. Let's say we just wanted to take this buy here. Imagine this part does not exist. So they said we should buy here. So what would I have done? I would have actually looked for the nearest resistance zone, right? So if they told me to buy at this point, that means I'm looking for the place price would have to struggle to break through. So if you look at this previous place, you can see that, okay, price came here, it bounced up. At this region, again, price came here, it bounced up, it came here, it went up, it came here, it went up. So I might want to draw my horizontal line around this area. I might want to draw it around this region. So let's say I drew my horizontal line here. Let me actually make it red to tell you that this is a resistance, right? So why am I taking it here? Why am I actually drawing it there? If I go back to the past, let me actually go back to the past. You're going to see that at the past, price was still respecting this line. You see it here. It's touching here back to back. It has been hitting this zone. See, it hits here, it went up, hit here, it went up, came down, hit here, came down, hit here. Just like that, it has been respecting this resistance line for so many times. Same thing happened here. So here as well, it dropped here, it hit here, it bounced up, it finally broke through. It tried to break here again. So it dropped again, just like that, right? Just like that. So that's what it was actually doing. So I can say, okay, this is actually my resistance line. So what am I doing next? I'm changing back to candles. I'm changing back to candles. And you can actually see that price has been respecting this resistance line. So you can see it. All these candles have been respecting this zone. So now the only time I'm going to enter a buy, even if Swipe and Scalper called out this buy here, I'm going to wait for a break of structure. That is, I'm waiting for price to break through that resistance. Remember, they said break and close. So this green candle broke through and it closed. It opened another candle. You can decide to enter on the next candle. You can decide to enter on the next candle. You can decide to take this next candle as your entry. You can decide to take this next candle as your entry. So you can see it broke through the resistance and it closed. So most times you might want to just take it from here. So you can see that it broke through and closed. So you might enter from there, or what you might want to do is you might wait for price to drop down and retest the resistance line, which is now your support. Then you enter for a buy. And if you actually took it, you would have caught about this like 1,230 something pips. You'd have actually caught that. But since it's actually a scalper, right? We are actually scalping. That means we are not supposed to be in the market for too long. The rule of the scalper is that your TP1 is supposed to be just 50 pips. If you read this, you're going to see that TP1 is 50 pips, TP2 100 pips, TP3 is 150 pips. That's the rule of the scalper. But unless you want to hold you enter your buy, you want to hold it, that's left for you. But the rule of the scalper is 50 pips for TP1. You just split your risk into 3. So that's what you're actually doing. So if I wanted to actually enter this buy, let's assume I took this buy. So let's say I actually bought from here. So that means my TP1 would have been somewhere around here. let's say 500. 500 is 50 pips. Ignore this last zero. So this is 50 pips. Now my stop loss should be around, remember they said stop loss at 50 pips as well. So let's say 500 here. This is where my stop loss would have been. So on my MetaTrader, I'm taking this number on the extreme right to be my stop loss, right? Then this number here is my TP1. Then for TP2 is now 100 pips. So that means using this tool is I'm going to be looking for 1,000. So 1,000 is 100 pips. You just ignore the last number. So 1,000 is 100 pips. So I'm just ignoring this number 8. So I have 100 there. So that's my 100 pips. So just like that, if I wanted TP3, yes, I would have extended this stuff to where I can get, I think, 1.5. So if I can get 1.5, that's my TP3, just like that. So you can see that this one actually hits, it actually hits TP1 and TP2. That's just how to use the scalper. The same thing for the sell. Let me actually show you guys a sell example. Then after I actually show you guys the sell example, then we can just call it a night. So okay, so for an example for the sell, right? Let me show you guys how to sell if you wanted to sell. If you wanted to take sell. So okay. So now following the rules, we got a sell signal, and now what happened? Price is now under the 50 EMA. So that's to tell you that obviously we are now looking for sales. So step one is change from candlestick charts to line charts. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll change from candlestick charts to line charts. So now since we are selling, what am I looking for? I'm looking for break and close of support. When we are buying, we're looking for break and close of resistance. So now we're actually looking for break and close of support. So the scalper said we should sell at what? We said we should sell here. So let me just make a line here that we can all see. This is where we're selling from. So since we are selling from this point, I should be looking for the nearest support that price is going to break through. So if I look over to the left-hand side, let me take off these things. You can actually see that price came here, it bounced on this point, it went up, it broke through, it came here, it bounced here, just like this. So here looks like an interesting zone. So I might want to draw my horizontal line here. If I come back to the past, the same thing, you're seeing price is just hitting this line, is respecting this line. Price will come here, hits here, just like that. So I can say, okay, this is my support zone that I'm going to be watching out for. So it's the same thing, it's respecting all these points. You see, the line chart is actually respecting all these points. So now all I have to do is just go back to candlesticks, and you can actually see price is respecting these zones. So now the only time I am going to be taking this sell, right? The only time I'm going to be taking this sell, remember, it's called out a sell on this candle. The only time I'll be taking this sell is when I have price break and close below the resistance. So on this candle, you can see that it came here, it faked out. This was, you would have thought, okay, it's trying to break through. You would have rushed in for a sell, but no, it still came back up. Now what happened? It finally broke and closed below. It broke through. This is a break and it closed. So this is the close. This is the candle I would have sold from. So if I wanted to actually sell, this is where I'm taking myself from. This candle. So I enter my trade from here. Now 50 pips again, which is 500. You already got your 50 pips. But if you're the type of person that wants to hold, yes, you hold. You see that you've gotten 100 pips. You've even gotten more than almost 2,000 pips. Yes, 2,000 pips. So if you're the type of person that wants to hold your trades, yes. So now the rule is that once it hits 50 pips, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to move your trade stop loss to break even. That means you're moving your stop loss to entry price. That means you want to see how the trade is going to run. So that's basically how to use the scalper. People have making mistake a lot, so many mistakes. It just calls out a buy. Someone is going to enter buy on MetaTrader. or it calls out sell, you're rushing to go and enter sell on MetaTrader. That's not how it works. So the same thing applies for Ethereum. It's the same thing. It applies for Ethereum as well. It's the same thing. Most times on what they call it, on the scalper, you can actually see Crypto Picasso or any other trader or educator giving you hints. Like for Ethereum here, he called out a buy. This one, he already helped us to label it. In fact, he called out a buy. What did he say? Break and close above 2045 confirms the buy. That means you wouldn't have entered this trade. You would have entered this buy. You would have entered this buy. So you can spot break and close. And now what happened? See this green candle. He broke this black line and he closed. This is where you're entering from. You're not entering from here. You're entering after the break and close. After this green candle, right? After this green one here. Now, after the close, the red one, that's where you're entering for your buy. And now, 50 pips, same thing. 50 pips is your TP1, 100 pips, TP2, just like that. Okay, sorry. This one was for the sell. Let me look for. So long position, we are buying from here. So 50 pips. 50 pips this is like 50, right? Somewhere around here. This is 50 pips. So you see, he actually hits TP1. He actually hits TP1. So if you want to get 100 pips, you just extend it. Then the number you get at the right, let's say this was, I'm looking for TP2. The number at the right here, this is what you're setting on your MetaTrader. Your stop loss is 50 pips. So if I wanted to set 50 pips here, that means the number I would have been getting on the right-hand side, this red line here, this red box, this is my stop loss number. My TP is the green number. So that's how I just get my take profit and stop loss. So that's how to use the scalper. It's very, very simple to use and it's not complicated. So I hope every other person understood it. And who has questions? My phone is about to die. So if you have questions, please ask your questions so we can end the call. It's actually very, very late. It's past 11 already. So if you have questions, please just type your questions in the chat box. Then I can actually answer a few before we end it. So does anyone have questions? Does anybody have questions? You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Who has questions? Who has questions? My phone is about to go. So I need to make sure that I carried everybody along and everybody understood. Guys, drop fires in the chat box. So if you guys don't drop, man, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. So drop some fires if you actually got value from this training. Drop some fire emojis in the chat box. And trust me, I'll be back again. I'll be back again. So awesome. All right. Okay. So let me see. Not to set this. Okay, someone is asking how to set the broker. Don't worry, I think we can do this one within the week. Don't worry, I promise we'll do it within the week. Especially that XNext broker. I think we can actually do that one within the week. So I just have to talk to Cochita again, should fix a time. And guys, please drop some fire emojis for Cochita. She's actually the one that organized this. So I would have done it without her help, in fact. So I give it back to Cochita for organizing this. So you need to drop some fire emojis for her as well. So all said and done, guys. Yes, the recording will be out. Once I can find it in my email, I'll just send it to the group chat. So that's all for tonight. And I hope to teach you guys again. So that's the end of the training. Have a wonderful night. Enjoy your night, guys. All right, bye.
Thank you.
All right.